Welcome to the Modern Day Heroes podcast. We are elated about today's guest. We got Forbes Riley in the building. What's going on?
What is going on? Well, number one, I'm having a blast in Utah. It's snowing. I'm living in Florida, so I haven't seen snow in a while. And it's my fifth trip up here in the last couple of months because you guys have got, I don't know if it's in the water or something, but I love Utah.
We're ambitious out here.
But you're also sweet. They're ambitious in New York where I'm from, but they're not nice about it, okay? We'll run you over. Yeah, I've met some wonderful people.
Good. Well, we're so pumped to have you. We were just diving in about Josh.
Yeah, so we'll
Tell us a
start
story.
with not
Give
only
us a little context.
We'll start with my husband, who now I have a little game that I play. You're probably gonna get a kick out of this, but people say, "Can I see a picture of your husband?" And I say, "You know what? I'll show you. But if you don't say wow when you see it, I'll give you $100. Deal?
Deal.
Give me $5.
You're letting me know beforehand. That looks incredible.
You want to say wow? Just you
That
guys.
looks incredible.
I mean, we'll edit this in, but if you can see that, I'm showing it to the camera guys. Wow, there's no other word.
He's got veins in places that people shouldn't have veins.
But I'll tell you what. So he's super fit. He cares a lot. He's a competitor, 2-time Arnold winner. 2 stories I'm going to share about my man. See the guy on the left?
Wow, same guy.
Well, he was in a horrible motorcycle accident. Okay. Sat in a wheelchair when COVID started for 6 months, lost all of his muscle. And he worked over about a year, gained it all back to compete again.
Wow.
And here's the crazy story about him. And I love stories. I'm a storyteller. I'm an actress. I'm an artist. And I said to him, I said, as a role model, which I think we all are in this life if we choose to be, being fit, congratulations, a lot of fit guys running around. But this horrible story that happened to you and your comeback makes you a hero because you did it. Others would have given up. And the pièce de résistance, the really big thing, this weekend is Super Bowl, correct? There's been a trailer for a commercial. Arnold is coming. Arnold is coming. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in his 70s. In this State Farm commercial debuting at the Super Bowl, you're going to see old Arnold morph back to young Arnold, and they use Joshua's body as Arnold.
No way.
Hello. It's just such a coup.
Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to see Forbes' husband.
Yep. You're going to see his body and go, man, we know that's really Joshua.
I was excited for football, but I'm a little bit more excited.
I'm really excited about that. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a beautiful story. He's certainly changed my life. This season in my life, I've got 2 21-year-old kids.
Fun.
It's been
good for you.
What a great life. And I'm a hero in a lot of ways to myself because I survived. I've continued. I survived the murder of a little boy that I raised for 12 years. That was a profound moment in my life right after I lost both my parents. My brother-in-law is a New York City fireman who survived 9/11. None of the other guys in his firehouse did. I gave birth to my twins, and then Dexter was murdered. And he was my best man at my wedding, and my wedding photo was on the cover of the LA Times. So all of a sudden, when you're thrust into all that, you're like, my life is going in its own cool direction, and then like, bam. And for 5 years, I don't really know what happened between a murder trial and burying both my parents. It was like, all right. And so then you continue on if you choose to. I know people who don't want to continue on.
How'd you climb out?
You just do. And in fact, I'm wildly creative. If you look past my entire life, it's really the story of life happens for you, not to you. And
Absolutely.
I firmly believe that. So if you keep only celebrating the good things, you don't celebrate the bad things. And I know that sounds crazy, but why wouldn't you? People walk around, you walk around all the time going, it's not fair. Well, let me know when you find the book about Life is Fair. It must be under somebody's bed somewhere. I've never seen it. I don't believe it exists. I believe that life is life. And that's it. And you go through this and you experience it and you tell stories about it. And if you've ever watched a movie, and most of us have, because I used to write movies. You know what sucks about writing movies? It's not a happy story. It's all about conflict. And that's what makes, the hero goes on a journey.
Right.
It's not a nice journey. He gets fired at, or Indiana Jones, he falls down mountains, he gets balls rolling after him. It's not an easy journey, but it's a journey worth living. And I really embrace this at this age and this point time in my life. I'm turning 64 in 2 months.
Looks like 44, but congrats.
You can say that all day long. That's part of my story, is that I look 20 years younger than my mom did 20 years ago. And that was a decision that I made. And between how I ate, how I thought, I was lucky enough also to stand next to Jack LaLanne. And I know I've got a lot of stories. We're not going to be here that long, but I could tell all of them. And that's one of the things I've always wanted to do, is to tell the story of this amazing life. I'm standing, I graduated college, turned to my mom, who's kind of an agoraphobic, doesn't want to leave the house. And I had Europe on $20 a day, this thick book. And I said, Mom, I bought a one-way ticket to London. I'm going to go see all of Europe. I mapped it out. And I'm going to come home when I'm going to tear out all the sightseeing, come home and I have just the cover. And she's like, why are you doing that? I said, because I have a vision. When I'm 83 years old, I'm sitting around telling the story of my life to these kids and grandkids. and I've got nothing to talk about right now. So I'm going to set out to write the most amazing story of a life. And so every time something good or bad happened, that became the story. And so it doesn't surprise me that I have extraordinary stories because I decided to do that at 21. I jumped off the back of a moving train in Figueroa, Spain, because this guy was smuggling drugs and stole my backpack, chased after him. It's a lot. Okay, good story, right? Not necessarily while you're rolling around in the dirt wondering if you're going to die.
Sure.
But then, get this. So you said, how did you pull out of it? I'm going to come back to that loop. Lose both my parents. 9/11 happens. My brother-in-law survives. I have 2 babies, and then Dexter gets murdered. What? And one way I got out of it was I had a house in California, and it was on a half an acre. But it was a beautiful kind of solid brick house, but it wasn't big enough for a family of 4. And so I said to my architect, I said, well, what do we do here? He said, well, why don't we just knock it down, and I'll build wood for you at 1,000 square feet more, same price. But it's $25,000 to knock it down. Back then, I didn't have any money. I'm like, what do I do? And then it hit me. Like Mel Gibson in Hollywood, let's blow up my house. Let's blow up my house? He said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know. Really, that's been my I have no idea. But they did it in Hollywood for that movie. I said, put it out to the production companies. 3 days later, it was the movie Live Free or Die Harder with Bruce Willis. Knocked on my door. Clip. The opening scene is my house going kaboom. And also, if you go to YouTube, this is before iPhones, because my kids were little, about 18 years ago, I had a real camera. And I documented my kids watching their house being blown up. Because I knew that no one would ever believe this story. Because as I was living it, I'm like, I got to record this because this is crazy. And I think I would be today 100 times, Mrs. Beast is who I would be. There was no social media when I was doing all of this. So, Mr. Beast, your timing is everything, but man, I would have been right there with you.
How much did they pay you to blow your house up?
$25,000.
No way.
And they blew it up, cleaned it up, and gave me the money for it.
Look at that.
And it was an amazing experience.
That's how you get creative.
But you always get creative. That's what life is. Life is about figuring it out. And this is what, I own a company. I own a very nice big coaching company right now. I've got 28,000 students. And I don't know how you do that. How do you build it? I have no idea. We just did. 4 years ago, my daughter, who was 17 at the time, came downstairs during COVID and said, hey, Mom, I know you have a TV and a movie career and you're doing live home shopping and life is great, but what are you doing today? And I'm like, nothing. Joshua's in the other room. He's moaning and complaining because he just had surgery. The world is falling apart. And she said, great, let's build a business. I'm like, huh? She said, yeah. I know you tried to do all the back end stuff online and it never worked. Mom, I know I've watched you being screwed over. Mom, I'm your biggest fan. I know, it's kind of funny. And she'd been in digital marketing. She made her first $10,000 in a month when she was 12. Wow. She built websites for Les Brown and Joe Theismann and lots of other big people, all my friends.
That's amazing.
And I didn't really pay attention to that because she was a kid, right? But she was making a lot of side hustle money that I didn't know about. And she said, yeah, I got this whole thing wired. Why don't you teach pitching? And I said, whoa. I'm not going to teach that. She said, well, why? She said, you're really good at it. You've grossed $2.5 billion in my career.
That's a B, by the way, for those that are listening.
Well, and I have 195 different infomercials, 28 years on home shopping around the world. I can sell and pitch out. I'll pitch anyone, especially as a woman. There was nobody in my industry doing that as a woman. And I said, McKenna, there's a story. When I was in my 40s, I was printing money. I was working for everybody. I was so in demand. And then one day, I just given birth to you guys. My agent, I had a contract for $100,000 to host a show. Gave it to my agent. My agent calls me 2 days later. And he says, yeah, I got good news and bad news. I said, okay. He said, the good news is they love you. I'm like, of course. He said, but the bad news is they want somebody younger and less expensive than you. And I found her for them. And I'm like, what? He said, no, but the good news is they want you to teach her how to pitch. And I said, wait, let me see if hell is frozen over. Yeah, that's not happening. And in fact, I said at that moment to the universe, I'm never teaching this. I know something no one else seems to know. I go into companies and I change their sales teams. I change their sales tactics with just a few words. I am never teaching this. And for 20 years, I didn't. I just did what I did, had a great life. And
was that self-taught, or is that just a natural gift that just you were able to observe and discern like most people couldn't?
You know how you ever see that 3-year-old who can play piano? Mm-hmm. Self-taught, or just like what? Where does that download come from?
It's a gift.
Or the 11-year-old who can just sing opera. I'm like, how do you sing in Italian? Couldn't even speak English at 11. It's a gift. And here's how it happened. And I invite you guys to go to my YouTube channel, because on the channel, you'll see video that dates back 30 years. I have everything I've ever done documented on videotape. Everything. Including being 18 years old on the $20,000 pyramid on videotape. Being in the Miss Teenage America pageant in 1977 on YouTube.
Wow.
Everything I've ever
Cool.
done is on YouTube, which is crazy to me. I started the X Games with Stuart Scott on YouTube. You can see me do that in my 20s. And so what happened was I walked into an audition and there was a pen on the table. Now, you've all seen it, but this happened 20 years before Wolf of Wall Street. And it said, sell me this pen. I looked directly in the camera like that. And I thought to myself, I'm not comfortable. I didn't grow up with any money. My dad had a really bad accident when I was a kid, spent 3 years in the hospital. We were pretty much broke. So the word sell and money, it always kind of just made me uncomfortable. So I looked at the pen, I looked at the camera, and I said, okay. It's a funny thing about pens. When I got to college, I was only 16 years old. I was really young and very immature and insecure. But a pen like this, my mom used to write me longhand notes every morning. I'd race to the mailbox. A pen like this can reach out and touch somebody's heart. Well, Jake of Body by Jake came around the camera, grabbed my phone, you're going to make me a lot of money. And I'm like, okay. And if you go to YouTube, go to look up Fit TV and Forbes Riley, and you will see the first 1,500 products that I wrote the pitches for, sold on a network we called Fit TV, that he sold to Fox 5 years later for $500 million in 1993.
Wow.
You can't even write this movie because doesn't it seem like there's just too many coincidences? And I go back to, I set out to write a great movie for my life.
I want to see it when you're 83. Let me dive deeper into this. So $2.5 billion in sales. I'm sure it's more than that by now.
Thank you for knowing that.
And you've had this gift, and most times we are good at something, and oftentimes people that are good at something actually don't know how to teach it. You're in this
God,
space.
I love your questions, dude. You just came to the head of the line up here.
You're now in the position where you're teaching
What I
the
know.
thing that's come so naturally.
Yep.
And we have short time. Give us the synopsis of how to pitch someone to get whatever you want.
Okay, I'll give you 3 little secrets. Number 1, stop telling people what they need. Get them to want what you have. That is a massive hook. People who got a new network marketing company or a piece of great real estate or an investment, God, you really need to join me. And they have this need energy. Well, the truth is no one ever bought what they need. They buy what they want. So if I can get you to want what I have, I got you on board. Make you believe it's your idea. So, for example, I have a fitness product. Oh, look what I have here.
Check this out.
I created
Look at
this,
this.
okay? So this is called let's see if there's a little bag here. It's called a Spin Gym. And I created it. It's based on a very old toy. I'm in the National Fitness Hall of Fame. And I could tell you all the things it does. And I can tell you who I am and impress you to no end. What does that have to do with you? Nothing. So here's what I do, and I'll ask you guys at home. Pick up your right arm like this. Feel the bottom of it, especially if you're a woman. I know your camera guys, a little wiggly jiggly, a little like it could be a little bit harder. What if I told you do this for 3 minutes a day, and things will change? In fact, come here for a second.
You're
Move
kidding.
the microphone. Give me a thumb. Sit up. Give me a thumb. Now watch this. I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to count. Give me some energy. Sit up tall. Go 10, 9, 8. Go 7. Come on. Go 6, 5. A little harder than you thought it was, isn't it? Come on. What's your reaction? 5, 4. Come on. Look at you laughing. Now come here. Sit
This
at the
is
very
some
edge.
real effort.
Sit at the very edge of your chair. I want you to lean back. Lean back. Look at the top of my head. Straighten your arms. Straighten your arms like this. Come on, go 10, 9. Just give me 8, 7. Come on, 6. Come on, go 5. He's never done this on a show before. Go 4. Come on, go 3. Now, last, I put this on your chest. I want you to punch out some stress, man. Oh, yeah. By the way, you got kind of red over here. He's sweating. Oh, my gosh. Now
I'm dripping sweat.
Now I'm going to take it away from you. And what are you feeling right now?
A little bit of soreness.
Yeah, you want to know how to get one?
Absolutely.
You want it. I'm not going to tell you that you need it. I didn't tell you all that it does. You're going to tell me how much. And I took it away before you did your other side. You're
My
like,
credit card's
Yeah.
around here somewhere.
that's it. I do it. $40. I have people race off airplanes to get this, and I never say a word. I don't have to pitch it. All I do is make you want it because I know what you want. You want to be fitter, sexy. You want to take off your clothes and feel really good about your body, right? Especially
Who
for your
doesn't?
partner.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't? But the difference is I'm not going to sell you a piece of fitness equipment. Nobody needs fitness equipment. What you want to do is you want to look really sexy, not only in the bedroom, but the boardroom. Wow, you're telling me I could sit in my office and just do this? And things will change and my heart rate will get up? And that is why I've sold a couple of million of those things. Never tell you that you need it. So that's the first thing. Second is to begin with the end in mind. This is a really important one. I have a program called 1 Minute to Millions. Now, if you don't think a minute is worth anything, try buying a minute at the Super Bowl. $13 million for a minute. So when I meet you, ask me what I do.
What do you do?
I created the greatest fitness product on the planet. You want to see it?
Of course.
I got a yes. I got a yes in like 8 seconds. Most people will blah, 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 blah. So when someone asks you, and this is for you at home too, what do you do? What do you say?
I manage a door-to-door organization, invest in real estate.
So the first thing is you had a moment there where you're like, why? Don't you get asked that question?
I remember you asked me this before, and I said, I help transform lives. And you're like, that is not
okay,
it.
No, because you at home, play along. If somebody says to you, I transform lives, are you a plastic surgeon? Now, here's the thing.
That's why I hesitated.
I know. When you answer that question, stop telling people what they do. You think we care. Oh, but you asked me. No, I didn't. When someone asks you, what do you do? They're really asking you, what can you do for me?
Right.
And when you know that and understand it and practice it, you give people what they want. You have a much better connection. And I can network with people all around the room and do business. As opposed to standing here going, well, I'm an actress and I'm in a movie coming out in April. And you're like, So I've discovered this system. Not only can you pitch yourself pretty quickly, but when it comes to product and services, I've got two new TV series coming out all about products. One's called The 60-Day Hustle. The other's a 2-minute drill on 2 different networks where I'm a judge and I'm teaching and coaching entrepreneurs because the worst...
That's super cool.
Well, it breaks my heart. My dad was an inventor, okay? And he never got his inventions out anywhere. And when he died, I had this moment of people were looking in his garage full of all these magical things and picking it apart, throwing it out, garbage collectors, junk men. Like, this was my dad's life. This was his hopes and dreams, and no one ever got to play with his toys. And I thought, I don't want this to happen. And for about 20 years of my life, I found inventors who would have never gotten their ideas out and put them on an infomercial, put them on home shopping, made millionaires. And then I had to coach them how to articulate what they did because everybody is good at what you do, but odds are you're not very good about pitching it. You change that, you change the world. Think about the greatest pitch. You're married, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you pitch your wife?
Of course.
And she said yes.
12 months straight.
There you go. But can you imagine if she said no? She said yes because it's what she wanted, not what you wanted. You might have married, but she had to say yes. That's a pitch. And if you do that in every aspect of your life, you get what you want while giving people what they want.
Quick recap. Number 1.
Yep. So number 1 is stop telling people what they need. Get them to want what you have. Number 2 is begin with the end in mind. And 3 is master the art of knowing how to introduce yourself. And it's so minutia. But I got to tell you, if there's no drop of gas in your car, it's not going. Mm-hmm. You need a gallon. It gets somewhere. You got 5 gallons. So all the little things that I work on are life-changing. Because if you have a sailboat and you change one direction, over time, you're in a different place.
Completely.
So it started with my name. People say, what's your name? Forbes. I'm sorry, what's your name? Forbes Riley. Oh, so Riley's your first name? No, Forbes is my first name. Then people would say to me, are you sure? And I go, why am I spending the first 5 minutes of meeting you telling you what my name is? And so this has really come about with my own personal frustration. And now I watch people do this 1 minute to millions game with me. Okay. Hi, I'm known as the queen of pitch. Because I've sold $2.5 billion worth of product, and now I've got a coaching company with 28,000 students. What am I up to now? Want to learn how to pitch better? Go to www.freegiftfromforbes.com.
Viewers, check it out.
No, seriously, what you'll get there is you'll get the exact script, and it's about 15 different prompts. We now teach this. In fact, I'm doing a boot camp at the end of the month. I do. You know what I do a boot camp for? I mean, I charge millions for what I do. $100 for a week, 5 days with me. And people are like, why are you charging so little? You know why? Because I don't have to. I make money doing something else. And I have a real stand in the infomercial industry. I used to be a bit of when you're like the watchdog. Because there was a period of time where there were companies that came into my space and would screw over people. They'd take your money and they wouldn't really deliver. And I watched this and I thought, see, that doesn't work for me. And so we put in place an organization to self-regulate the infomercial industry so that sleazy people couldn't come in and do that. Well, I feel the same way about the coaching companies. You know, if you go to a coach, or the same thing happened when I wanted a digital marketer, $5,000 for a month, $10,000 for a month. And they're like, okay. I said yes a lot of times, wrote a lot of checks, and I was very heartbroken a lot of the time. I said, you know what? I'm going to just completely change this. I don't coach for money. I'm going to have you pay me because you won't show up otherwise. If I give something out for free, listeners, listen to this.
Right.
If you give out something for free, people don't show up and they don't respect it. And you do really cherish, very different with a Kia car and a Ferrari. They both get you where you're going, but you paid a lot more for the other one. You value it. But the truth is, it's just a car. Well, same thing with coaching to a point. if you're paying $5,000, you should be getting $5,000 worth of value. And when you pay $35,000, which some of my cohorts do, I said, but you know what? To make that kind of an investment hurts a lot of regular people. So what if I just said, look, I'm going to over deliver like crazy, make you feel so good about your life. You give me $100, I'm going to give you 5-day boot camp. Be like, really, Forbes? I'm like, I know. And then I'm going to have you bring a friend for free. Because I want to shake up an industry that is notoriously not there to really serve people. Crazy, huh? I love how you're looking at me right now. He's got all these questions going, oh, interesting, right?
Oh, there's so much to unravel.
I know.
How are we doing on time?
You got to go in 10 minutes, I think.
All right.
Your father was a magician.
He was a magician.
Tell me how you have correlated sales and magic.
Okay.
And dive a little deeper into
Sales and magic are the ultimate. I taught my daughter.
This is such a thrilling concept, by the way, the thought of incorporating magic into sales.
Number one, I actually do magic tricks during teaching.
I love it.
Because one of the things about a trick is that you'll watch it and half the people go, oh my God, how did you do that? They have no sense of how to do it. Well, an entrepreneur, you have no sense of how to do anything. Like, you're an entrepreneur. How do I start the business? How do I do? Stop for a second. Go back and start to dissect it. So when you watch a trick, my dad used to make me do this all the time. It looks magical. You're like, I don't understand. He said, know it's a trick. Know that if you work it backwards, there is a way that it works. It's not legitimately magic.
Yeah.
The success that I have, the success that a Grant Cardone is not magic. It's not luck. Go back and dissect the steps.
The process.
And if you do the same recipe, you might get very close to the exact same success. So to appreciate that there are systems that you cannot see in place. Isn't that interesting? The second thing, in magic, I have to make you believe in something that is legitimately a trick you could find in a book. Think about this. You ever see a girl get cut in half?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Like, they just take the saw, separate her body, half of her lower body's there. You're kidding me, right?
Right.
I mean, logically, you're like,
Right.
That can't really be happening, right? There really are two girls. Sorry, spoiler alert, okay? Now you know that. You know the funny thing is you're still going to go watch a magician cut a girl in half and applaud him anyway. Because it's the artistry, and you're willing to suspend your belief because of, like, that's just so wonderful how he did it, even though you know it's not even real. The next thing is, and my daughter is now CEO of my company. This little girl, who's now a grown woman at 21, who's traveling around the world, living on her laptop, going from Belize to climbing 6 hours up of active volcano. We're going off to Iceland because she's literally figured it out. But at like 8 to 12, I made her do magic tricks on stage. We would go to these different events, or we would go places, and we've been doing magic tricks forever. And when she started, it was like, okay, so there it is. I'm like, McKenna, that's the trick. You're not doing anything. You have to have this pattern. You have to set it up. You have to talk. You have to get people to believe. You have to pitch them. I didn't say it quite like that. And so all of a sudden, she started telling these little stories. And people were like, oh, that's amazing. And the more that she got that reaction, and I'm watching, my dad did the same thing with me, but I didn't realize it. So now as I'm watching this, I'm like, that's how I teach entrepreneurs. You have something here's the thing. I want you to buy this. That's the trick. That's the answer to the trick. I can't say, here, buy this. No, I'm going to go, how about a feature and benefit? The feature of this is that the screen magnifies up. It becomes a holograph. It's the newest thing ever. You can actually see your phone from across the room, and you can magically touch like Tom Cruise does in that movie. Are you interested right now? Yeah, right. You got that I want. And as soon as you're like, all right, I'm ready to buy this, I have the thing you're ready to buy. I did that. That's all I ever did. People didn't understand it. It's a fascinating thing to dissect. I used to talk to people like Dean Grazioso and Tony Robbins and other people what an infomercial is and why infomercials worked. And I don't know if you're very aware of that time because it was really during the 1990s.
Past my time for it.
I know. So in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, commercial comes on for a stain remover. People are like, who buys stuff at 2 in the morning? I'm like, everybody. Because here's what we would do. I don't go on the camera and go, hey guys, I have a great new stain remover. It's $5.99. It comes in a bottle. That's what every other person does. It's so weird. I wouldn't do that. I'm going to go, oh my God, do you remember that moment where you spilled wine on the carpet? Like at your mom's house, you had to move the couch over? Well, I'll tell you what, no longer you're going to be embarrassed. You don't have to throw out that shirt that you got a little ink mark on. I have the magic eraser. Now, I'm still not going to show it to you. I'm not going to show you the product. Now you're like, you're curious because I just identified a problem that you have. I don't even know you. I didn't ask you a question. And you're like, yeah, I think probably have a stain on something I'd love to get rid of. But now I'm still not going to show you what it is. I'm going to have a testimonial. Oh my God, I just saved a $100 shirt because I got lipstick on it? And and I'm going to show you 3 testimonials. People are going to love it. You're sitting there drooling right now oh my God, I want this product. When is she going to show me the product? And it'll be the last thing that I put out. And then I'm going to give you a scarcity. I'm going to give you, you know what? You can buy it, but only for this price tonight. And if you buy this one, I'll give you that one for free. You're in a state of like, take my credit card and ship me this stuff. And I translated that to home shopping. And it's, if you want to learn how to pitch, watch QVC, watch Masters at Work. And I love it. I mean, it's a fun thing to do.
That's cool. QVC can be educational. I like that.
Yeah.
So take us back. What age did you begin acting?
Well, so this is an interesting story. I was an ugly, goofy looking kid. I had a broken nose. I got hit in the face when I was 8 years old, and I had for a long time, it was just really awkwardly looking. I had a very weird bite, like my teeth went in different directions, so I wore braces for 8 years, and I had a tongue thrusher for 2 years. And nobody could understand what I was saying, so I had very few friends growing up. Then my dad was in an accident. Something magical happened, and I'm just going to leave you guys with this, that out of the bad things, if you're willing to hang on for the ride, it is a roller coaster. If you really want high highs, you got to do low lows. And so there I am every day in the hospital with my dad. Most kids were going to football games, baseball games. I didn't even know we had teams. There was just no time. We were survival mode for years. And then one day my mom came to me in the hospital and she said, we've got no money for college. I'm so sorry, but we're broke. And that was my big dream, to go to college. And she said, but there's this beauty pageant coming to town called the Miss Teenage America pageant with a scholarship. She looked at my face and thought, okay, I don't know what we're going to do. I will tell you, there's a moment, and I don't know, maybe it's guys, you realize that your dad wanted you to play football and you can't catch to save your life. Being pretty when you're a girl is everything.
For sure.
And when she said that to me, I was 16, my heart broke. So did the doctor who was listening to us. He turned to my mom and said, you know what I'm going to do for you guys? I'm going to fix your daughter's nose. It's really broken and she can't grow up like that. Well, the funny thing happened was I woke up, and I show pictures of this. I woke up a couple of days later, and the little girl looking back in the mirror was a girl I'd always dreamed of looking like.
Wow.
And I looked at her and I said, you know what? We're going to enter this pageant. We're going to win a scholarship because I have to. And I remember my dad got out of the hospital, a big bandage on his hand. We walked into an auditorium with 500 other girls. And I said to him, I don't know if I said it to him or just myself, but one of these girls is going to NBC television with Bob Hope, and it's going to be me. And I don't know why or what gave me the courage to do that, except the little girl in the mirror always wanted to look like that.
Wow.
And I ended up lots of auditions, lots of meetings, lots of whatever. And at the end of the day, I won in a blue hand-me-down dress. And I ended up going to Tulsa, Oklahoma and winning a scholarship, and it started everything. I was going to go to be a lawyer. And this is one of my favorite stories ever. I think everyone has these moments, self-doubt, bullies, because we're always comparing. How else do you figure out, where you are in life? And I had a vision, a feeling inside that I was meant to do something, and I wanted to act. I don't know. I used to watch the Oscars and watch all my favorite actors and movies, and that just looks like such a glamorous, amazing life that I'm not living right now. And I'm in college, and I auditioned for. In high school, we did plays. Did you ever do plays in high school?
Of course.
I was the chorus. I was townsperson number 3, standing in the corner, and I never got
you and me both.
It was really sad because I couldn't do that, but I never got a shot to do it. So there I am, senior year in college. I auditioned for Shakespeare's As You Like It, biggest role he wrote for a woman. And I will go to the call board to see who got the roles, and I'm looking for townsperson. I'm not there. I'm not chorus. I'm not anything. And I'm like, oh man, really? Then I said, well, what lucky girl gets to play the lead? And I look to the top, and that's my name, next to Rosalind. And I went to the professor who was directing this, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't know if you made a mistake, but you've given me the lead role in the biggest play you're going to do this year. He said, yeah. He said, this was written for you. I said, what are you talking about? He sat me down, and he started to tell me all the things that he saw in me, from who I was to how I manipulated, how I just did everything. And he said, and he went on, and those were only words that I'd heard myself say to myself. Too many people were busy looking at my nose and my frizzy hair, and I was overweight. And the cool thing about the professor? Professor David Richmond was 100% legally blind.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't see anything outside. And because I got a sense that he really saw who I was, I called my parents, said, I love you guys. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to New York to be an actress.
Wow.
I auditioned
That's beautiful.
I auditioned for the lead in my very first feature film, and I booked it. It's called Splatter University. My first audition feature film. And it's been a great ride. I've been on Broadway. And then I stopped for a while. I had a lot of ups and downs. I had the lead in a TV series that at the 11th hour, Fox decided my name wasn't famous enough to run the show, even though I did the pilot. and they gave it to Bo Derek, an actress who was well known at the time. And at that moment, I said, you know what? I've worked so long and so hard, and maybe it's not meant to be. And I stopped. I had the 2 babies. I went through all that trauma in my life. And I opened a business, a fitness business, and I just pursued life and raising kids because I didn't have my children until I was 42. And I was blessed enough to have 2 healthy kids. I have no parents. I have no other relatives except my ex-husband. And we were raising them. And I said, you know, I'm not going to stop working. I know if I stop working, I don't get to go back. So I'm going to figure out how to balance this as best I can. But I'm also going to be mom. And I've talked to Tony Robbins, who has 4 kids. Now he's got a 5th one. But he wasn't there for them. He was too busy becoming Tony Robbins. And I just, as I was watching his career happen, I'm like, it's different when you're a man and a woman. And I love my babies so much. And I've got lessons to teach them. And I don't want to miss this. So I'm not as famous as he is. I'm as talented. I've got as big a message. But now that they are grown, this is the time. It's why I'm on your show. Mm-hmm. It's why I'm speaking on stages around the country. It's why I'm on tour right now for 6 weeks. It's why I'm writing new books. It's why I've got so much going on. Because I was right. I was right that I didn't give it up. I am now in love with a man who thinks the world begins and ends with me. Our hearts are like, it's been 7 years. And I tell people, because I coach sometimes 40 to 60 hours a week on Zoom. I mean, I'm crazy. I over-deliver. I'm leaving here and got a 3-hour training. I love my students. And I can only do that because the universe graced me with my love. A man who is willing to stand by my side and just be my partner in life. I don't think I could do this if I hadn't connected to him. That makes sense? I can love you because he loves me. And I was always missing that unconditional, beautiful, pure heart love. I don't think I thought it existed. The reason he found me is I've got a mouthpiece. And I'm going to tell you at home, I used to hate Walt Disney. I used to be so pissed that all the princesses had tiny waists and long flowing hair. All the mothers were dead. Bambi's mom is dead. Dumbo's mom is dead. All the stepmoms are evil queens. I'm like, this is, I don't know. And then some knight in shining armor is supposed to come and save me. Well, that's what I grew up believing. That's what I was taught. Some knight is supposed to save me. You or most of the men are out there playing on a football field. Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm like waiting, going, come along and save me. Well, the funny thing is, I met my Prince Charming. And I will tell you that being in love and actively finding a partnership of some sort, I don't think we're supposed to be doing this alone. You know, swans mate for life. I don't know if we do or not, but I'll tell you what, when someone loves you and you love them in a way that I can't even imagine. And I was talking about this last night. Why is Joshua different? Do you have a dad growing up?
I do. He's amazing.
I know I can feel that because I can get that in you. Joshua's dad was killed when he was 2 years old. Mom married the brother many years later to help raise the boys. It was a very small town. He was killed in a car crash when Joshua was 15. You have the role models ripped out of your life. And you've got a great mom. It makes the most loyal, sweet man I've ever met in my entire life. And I don't wish that on anybody because that's a really traumatic beginning to this life. But he's in it for life. It's the most amazing commitment I've ever seen from a human. He taught me how to love. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for
I'd
listening.
love to go for 4 more hours. if we get the audience to give her a round of applause, thank you so much. Appreciate you for being on. Everyone check out her free gift. Check out her website. And please, let's support Forbes Riley in her journey.
Before I go, do you guys, what a great demeanor you have. What a great energy that you have that made me want to tell all those stories because I don't do that for everybody.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you so much.
You're sweet. Oh. We love you and appreciate you.
You're nice.
God bless. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.